The gist of team identification is where we are removing the attacker, neutral, and defender categorization of palettes, meaning that right now you can use whatever you want, no matter the game mode, no matter the team, it's all free.
That's awesome. That's actually sick. That being said, I mean, obviously, you used to use colors maybe as a way to identify your teammates, and I'm sure you guys have seen that through playtests and stuff like that. So, is there anything that's being done to kind of compensate for this added benefit for the players?
Yeah, of course. Is at like the very beginning, we had, like attackers orange and we had defenders blue, and we realized that when you had some kind of cross-color customization, it could lead to situations that were very weird, or you could think that someone was an ally because he was, in your color, but in fact no. And that's why at the beginning we decided to completely lock the color customization. So now what we're doing is changing a ton of stuff in the UI so that people can recognize teammates and enemies even without their customization. And what we're seeing in the video now is that we're playing Dominion from the attacker side, but you have probably noticed that you're team blue. And so that's one of the most visible changes that we've done with this update, is ensure that you are always team blue and your enemies are always team orange. So what this does is just streamlines everything regarding identification. If you see any element of the interface that's orange, you know it's an enemy. If it's blue, you know it's an ally. And what you're noticing as well is that to kind of compensate for this, you don't wear your team colors anymore. We have added an outline to all of your teammates that you can see from everywhere across the map. This basically entails if I see an outline, I know it's a friendly. If I don't see an outline, I know it's an enemy. A lot of games are doing the same. And something that we realized when we were testing is that some people really, really like having the outline, whether it be to know where people are or just to ensure that they wouldn't be taking allies and enemies. But some people really didn't need it. So what we've done, as you can see in the video, is that if you go to the option into user interface, you can disable that outline altogether if you don't want to use it in your match.
That's awesome. And also just in terms of breach, I'm seeing that obviously right now we're looking at the perspective from attacker,
yes,
which is blue, and also other elements of this game mode where you would be used to seeing stuff in orange. And from the tests, do you see that there's an adjustment period to be made here, or is it relatively simple for the players?
What I would say is maybe for the first or first game, it may be a bit, kind of not as usual, because if you play attacker, you will see the ram in blue and you would see the gate, in orange, which is not what you're accustomed to. But from what we've seen, the adjustment is like pretty easy to do. It doesn't take a lot of time, and for Dominion, it's basically as if you were playing on the defender side all together, all along. Like that doesn't change that much.
Nice. Okay, well, let's take maybe a quick recap of everything that we just saw in this video. So coming back to this, why don't you give us a breakdown of everything?
Yeah, so the first one, the one I mentioned, you will always be team blue from now on. Enemies are always going to be team orange. The second is we really wanted to make huge visual differences between your allies and your enemies that weren't always based on color. So the outline, I talked about it. You can disable it if you don't want it. Your allies' name are going to be displayed all the time. And so this is also so you can spot your allies easily. And we also hope that it will help with coordination, especially if you are, you join matchmaking in a group and you want to know where your friend, your group with, where they are in the map. You can see it like just at a glance by browsing around you. We've also changed some of what we call the awareness rules. Awareness is what decides what we show in terms of UI at which moments. So right now what we're doing is you will always see the emblem on your enemies all the time, like where you would do before. It's just that the detailed information, such as health, stamina, is going to be seen only when you're engaged in fight. So if they're fighting you or if you're fighting them, it's log based. And finally, we color the health bars, like it's team color, just to reinforce a bit more that UI presence to help you identify, enemies and allies. So that's the biggest part of it. Of course, we had to make some adjustments on previous feedbacks that were using outlines, especially the reveals, the war banner in Breach or the offerings in Tribute. They're now using the matchmaking screen, so that now you have description of the game modes. We changed the face-off also as well to make it a bit clearer, less cramped. And so we are continuing on that on that direction with this update. So the first, and I think it's one of it's also a long requested change. The orders are now accessible from the pause menu, meaning that you can see them when you are waiting for matchmaking. You can see them in game. So if you need a reminder of what have I equipped or what do I need to do to finish my orders, you can do it now. You don't have to be in the end of game or in the world map anymore. So now it's accessible from your pause menu.
Awesome. That's a great quality of life change. And is there anything else that players can expect for TU1?
Yes. So we have made some modification to the UI of the podium.